Good evening. I'm Byron Scott with a CTV News update. Prince George's opens a one-day COVID testing site in the Langley Park area. Patricia Vallone was there this morning and has this report.
The line was long, but moved at a steady pace at this pop-up COVID testing site at the Langley Park Community Center on Merrimack Drive. From 9 to 11 this morning, people from the largely immigrant community came on foot or in cars for the free coronavirus tests. No appointment, doctor's note, or insurance needed. Tests were also given for those with or without symptoms. The region has been a COVID-19 hotspot during the pandemic.
I was here to get tested because I want to go visit my mother, who's 92 years old and just got out of the ER. And so just for precautionary measures of not bringing something to her that's going to definitely kill her, I just want to make sure that I'm okay.
I'm actually a principal of a Catholic school in the neighborhood, and for the last last 4 months, basically, we've been serving food here in this location. About 3 to 4 times a week. In fact, we have another food distribution tomorrow, and I just thought it would be a good idea to get my test done just like everybody else, both for my personal well-being and because it's the right thing to do as part of the larger effort to be responsible.
Although this was a one-day testing site, there are several locations around the county open on a regular basis. For more information, log on to PRINCEGEORGESCOUNTYMD.GOV and search for COVID-19 testing. Patricia Vallone, CTV News.
Meantime, in Anne Arundel County, officials are requiring residents to wear face masks outdoors when 6-foot social distancing is not possible. The new law takes effect today. Well, Governor Larry Hogan's November election plan is facing criticism from the Maryland congressional delegation. The delegation wrote a letter to Hogan asking him to rescind his directive and issue a revised voting plan. The governor has ordered the State Board of Elections to proceed with in-person and vote-by-mail options. Meantime, State Senator Paul Pinsky reacts to Hogan's decision.
Unfortunately, this might serve to disenfranchise voters. The resources to run an election are very challenging, and the approach he's taken says that we have to run 1,700 precincts at the same time vote a significant mailed-in ballot based on applications, and that's going to take a lot of work from the local boards and the state board. And in fact, all 24 local boards of election have said they think they're set up for failure. They think what we did in June with some improvements is the best way, is he mailed to every voter. The approach he's recommending is doubling the work.
The presidential election is set for November 3rd. Well, last Friday, Prince George's County Executive Angela Alsobrooks formed a police reform commission. The goal is to provide recommendations for reforms for the Prince George's County Police Department. The 23-member panel is comprised of residents and public officials with relevant specialties and backgrounds on the issue of policing and police reform. Delegate Alonzo Washington co-chairs that task force.
We're going to look at use of force. We're going to look at hiring practices. We're going to look at promotional practices. We're gonna look at the oversight within the police department. We're looking at ensuring that there's racial equity within the police department as well. So we're looking at all facets, including in community engagement, community policing. It's a budget to ensure that there's room in there for us to make sure that we're using the best practices across the country in Prince George's County.
Washington says commission meetings will be open to the public. The panel must submit a report to the county executive by October 30th. With civic unrest continuing over the deaths of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy says racist acts will not be tolerated here in Prince George's County. Braveboy pushed for a stronger hate crime statute in Maryland after the death of Lieutenant Richard Collins III, which passed in the General Assembly in March. She says having similar laws across the nation might help end acts of hate.
I wish we could pass a law to end racism and everyone would just stop with their bias and prejudice, but that's just not reality. But what we can do is we can hold people accountable for their bias and prejudice, and that's what we're doing here in Prince George's County, and I think we need to do that across the country.
Brave Boy says her office will seek enhanced penalties for anyone who commits crimes on the basis of hate. And a Baltimore police sergeant has been arrested and charged with extortion and kidnapping. 3 other officers may have been involved. Investigators say the charges stem from a dispute over contracting work done on the sergeant's home. The officer allegedly demanded his money back because he was unsatisfied with the contracting work. Investigators say the sergeant forced the victim into a car and took him to a bank to get a certified check so he can get his money back. In addition to the charges, 45-year-old police officer James Lloyd has been suspended without pay. An internal investigation is underway. The 3 other officers have had their police powers suspended. A Silver Spring woman has been charged with first-degree murder in the death of her child. 23-year-old Kiara Tolson allegedly starved her year-old daughter Blair Niles for 3.5 weeks after the child died. Tolson allegedly put her body in a dumpster. Tolson is being held without bond. The environmental advocates are alarmed about the environmental impact statement on the state's plan to widen I-495 and I-270. They say they are concerned about damage to the $11 billion report could have on the environment, health, and economy. So far, several dozen organizations, along with congressional lawmakers, have asked for the comment period to be at least 120 days, as opposed to the 90 currently scheduled. They say residents need time to get through the 18,000-page report. Well, county students may soon be able to march from class to Capitol Hill or Annapolis without repercussion. The school board has added civic engagement days to its list of excused absences. Recent Eleanor Roosevelt graduate Lena Muhammad testified before the board about the issue. She says she became interested in civic engagement after taking part in protests like Global Youth Climate Strike.
Civic engagement days are a really good opportunity for kids to actually go out there and apply their rights, exercise their rights, use those skills they learn in the classroom.
If you look at history, there have been so many folks that were in their teens and 20s and 30s at the front lines of making change. And that hasn't changed 100, 200, 300 years down the line.
The Civic Engagement Days proposal was adopted by the board last month.
Hi everybody and welcome to your CTV Sports Report. Tonight we are talking tennis. This weekend the WTT or World Team Tennis gets underway at the Greenbrier in West Virginia. The players are excited to get back on the court and they will do so in front of fans.
Having played college tennis at LSU, me and Ken, it's the only time we get to compete in a team environment. So we enjoy that. We come back every year. I'm playing for New York, Ken's playing for Orlando. And we're looking forward to going to the Greenbrier. It'll be our first time visiting there, and we're really looking forward to it.
I played it a few years ago and had great success in the first year. So obviously, when you're on a winning team, it was always a nice feeling, and it's a nice team environment. I think it's something that I've always enjoyed. Playing doubles as a team is always something that was appealing to me when I was younger. Playing with my brother was obviously great, but to be part of a team like college tennis in a way was definitely something that sort of inspired me to have a go, and it was great fun with the success we had.
World Team Tennis at the Greenbrier is going to have a limited number of fans. One of the first events in the United States to be able to have fans. What's that going to be like to play with fans in the crowd?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, we've been through very unusual times at the moment. So there's a lot of things going on off the court that are different. Preparation's been very different in that regard. So to have the crowd there will be great, because obviously it gives you a little bit more atmosphere when you're playing. To play in front of nobody is probably quite difficult for players. It's something that you're just not very used to, almost like a practice match in a way. But to have fans there, to have people who appreciate good tennis and make some noise, that will be definitely inspiring to play better tennis, and hopefully we can do well with it.
You guys have played on the same team before. You're not playing on the same team this year. What went into that, and why are you playing on separate teams this year?
They've changed the format. It's now more like you sign up to play, and then the team kind of takes you if you're like a free agent and stuff. I'm really looking forward to it. We've got a good team. Can't wait to get started. It's a shame that Marty Fish won't be joining us this year. He's normally on our team, but he sadly had to pull out this year. But yeah, really looking forward to it, and hopefully we can beat Ken a couple of times.
Not going to happen.
Now, in case you were wondering, Francis TFO is back to play for the Washington Castles this year, as is Venus Williams. And that is your CTV Sports Report.
And that wraps up our newscast for tonight. See you on Monday. Good night.
For the latest information on COVID-19 in Maryland, visit the State Health Department website. That's health.maryland.gov. Again, health.maryland.gov. Click the link to the COVID-19 information portal. There you'll find all the latest information about coronavirus. You'll find daily updates on cases and fatalities. Answers to questions about testing and the governor's stay-at-home order are available as well. For specific information about Prince George's, visit PrinceGeorgesCountyMD.GOV. That's PrinceGeorgesCountyMD.GOV. The site offers information about local services for residents and businesses. There's a link for COVID-19 relief donations. Also, food pantry locations are listed. And if you have any questions, call the county COVID-19 hotline at 301-883-6627. That's 301-883-6627.
You're looking at me in the future. Okay. Hi, Isaac.
Hi. Wait a second.
Do you know who I am?
Julia.
This is Jaina. Into the future. I just wanted to talk to you about what happened with those two girls.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember it was this girl that I was getting bullied by that one day at PE when they were like yelling at me, and then you just linked arms with me? I don't think you know how much like that helped me, because like I finally like knew that I had somebody. Because of you, Isaac, and what you did for me years ago, I grew up to be more independent and love myself and just be a little bit more confident.
Aw, I'm like a little tearing up right now. Just to see her in the future just blossom and look beautiful, and that was really amazing.
Here are your AARP top tips on caregiver preparedness during coronavirus. First, form a caregiving team. Create a list of people in your family and friend network who can help with caregiving tasks. Take an inventory of supplies in your loved one's home. Try to have a 2-week supply of essential items. Make a list of the care recipient's medications and medical contacts. Be sure to have prescriptions on hand and ask the pharmacist for an extra 30-day supply. Make a plan to stay connected. To prevent social isolation, set up available technology to help loved ones stay connected and schedule regular chats. Finally, maintain your own self-care. Follow the Centers for Disease Control's guidelines for coronavirus safety. And have a backup plan for care in case you become ill. For more caregiving tips during the coronavirus pandemic, go to aarp.org/caregiving.
There was a time in my life where I was extremely homesick. I decided that I needed a pet. When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. He jumped up and kissed me and like jumped right into my arms. I immediately went up to the volunteers at the shelter and said, I want him, like he's gotta come home with me. Now I'm anything but lonely. Every day with Turtle is a perfect day and keeps me company when I'm doing schoolwork. I like it when he jumps up on the table too. He is a veggie thief. He's an incredible companion and my best friend. Can't say that I've met anybody that doesn't love him too. When I adopted Turtle, I discovered all the things that make him unique. He's a little bit of a lot of things, but mostly he's all pure love.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19.